Hold on. Much better. Hey, what is going on, everybody? My name is Payne, and welcome to another anime review video. And as if you might guess, we're going to be reviewing another sports anime. It's funny in some cases how I didn't even start this whole sports anime thing with a show that revolved around basketball or baseball, or I seriously hope there was a show that has this, American football. But no, I started with ice skating of all things. Ice skating. That one sport that no one pays attention to except when a show like Yuri on Ice comes on the air, or when Winter Olympics come in every 4 years. And now I'm going to be reviewing an anime about a sport that I'm pretty sure you had no idea could be a competitive sport. But it is, and there's a show about it. So with that out of the way, let's see why this show exists, basically, and get it out of the way. Here is the one, the only, Welcome to the Ballroom. Welcome to the Ballroom, also known as Ballroom Youkoso, is a sports, romance, and comedy anime directed by Yoshimi Itazu. It was made by the studio Production I.G. It aired in the summer of 2017, and it consisted of 24 episodes, and it was one of many shows that was exclusively shown at Anime Expo 2017 before the series was released worldwide the week after the expo ended. Not the one that just ended, Anime Expo 2018, but the one before that. It started off as a manga that, as of the making of this video, has produced 9 volumes since 2011, which also included a 2-year hiatus between the last 2 volumes due to the failing health of its author, Tomo Takuchi. But now that he is better, he has announced that he'll be releasing a 10th volume this November. The show has 2 arcs, basically. The first one follows a 3rd-year middle school student named Tadara Fujita as he is aimlessly trying to find out what he can do with his life. One day, while walking home from school, he was ambushed by a bunch of gang members and delinquents, only to be saved by a guy in a motorcycle named Kaname Sengoku, who is later revealed to be a professional dancer and a local dance instructor in the town that they're in. It was also there where Kaname introduces Tadara into the world of competitive dancing, as the rest of the arc follows Tadara in his first ever competition after he fills in for another dancer in between heats with no practice, and then competes in his first planned competition, the first one that he knows he's going to be in the end of the first arc, while the second arc follows Tadara and a classmate named Chinatsu Hiyana, who is revealed not only to be an experienced ballroom dancer herself, but was also skilled at leading during a competition, which for people who don't know, leading is mainly something that the guy does, and it follows their time together as they have this love-hate relationship while also practicing with each other and competing in many different tournaments and competitions throughout the second arc. Watching this show feels like taking a journey down memory lane. I'm talking about the type of memory lane where you were once a kid and you wanted to prove to everyone that you had talent in something. Everyone has that. I've had that. You've had that. When it comes to like sports, art, academics, acting, singing, anything like that. And as such, this anime is one that I found remarkably realistic and relatable, as the first few episodes doesn't take long to establish the principal cast along with their intention for being there in the first place. The anime, along with its 2 arcs in the plot, has 2 different scenarios. The first is the interaction of the characters outside the ballroom, which is a rational world where the characters are beings with needs, problems, and feelings just like you or me. But while they're in their second world, which is inside the ballroom, it is a place with its own sets of rules where the score and the leader-companion relationship matter more than anything. This ambience creates a pressure and rivalry to the story, and it creates a dynamic where feelings of the characters bloom on both sides, outside and inside the ballroom. I'll be honest here, Tadara is a character that won't be very easy to accept for most people at first glance, as it's shown that he has a meek personality and seems to overestimate himself in certain circumstances. This is shown in the beginning when Tadara expresses to Sengoku that he wants to be a pro rather than just dance. His initial attitude makes him look like a fool, as dancing isn't just something that can be perfected with just a flip of a switch or with a snap like that. But my impression of Tadara made me realize that while he sets high expectations for himself, he does have potential but needs the right people and the right time to unlock it. Luckily, he does get the opportunity by going to the dance studio where other talented dancers are there to perfect their work. From the studio, he also meets the very talented and beautiful Shizuku, who is another 3rd-year middle schooler who goes to the same school as Tadara, as she becomes a source of inspiration for him as he strives to improve and become a pro. Throughout this show, he embraces the art of ballroom dancing and becomes very determined to prove himself. As from an amateur to an inspiring ballroom dancer, his character can really grow to people as we see him progress throughout the series. The storytelling builds on many fronts, although most of it still follows Tadara and his journey, as he deals with personal issues, social problems, and also establishes rivalries with certain characters he meets throughout the show. At the same time, an important part of the show involves him building important relationships with others compared to being rivals with other people. Two particular characters stand out the most in this instance. The first one is Tadara's first partner towards the end of the first arc, Mako Akagi, and Janatsu, who is Tadara's partner throughout the second arc of the show. As dancing partners, Tadara's relationship with both these girls vary in attitude. While Mako and Tadara have a friendly relationship that's based on strong spirit, trust, and respect, on the other hand, Tadara and Janatsu's relationship is the exact opposite. It's more borderline towards just straight up competitiveness. Not to mention, Janatsu already has a dancing background and doesn't tolerate a weak partner, which makes sense why she would lead. And throughout the show, we see how Janatsu begins to accept him more with their growing trust, while Tadara also develops as a person as he crafts his own dancing style so that it's not just his partner carrying their dances. And whether he realizes it or not, Tadara does have an influence on others in the show as well. This includes making Mako realize how skilled she really is, restoring Janatsu's love for dancing, and even influencing Shizuku to improve herself to be better at ballroom dancing. In retrospect, this anime steps over the line to make Tadara a more likable character as time goes on. Unfortunately, I can't really say that all the main cast gets decent screen time and development when it comes to times like this. While Shizuku is Tadara's initial inspiration, she doesn't get much highlight later on in the show, as in the second half it's mostly towards Janatsu and Tadara. Also, for anyone who's wondering, don't expect this anime to focus much on Tadara's love life either, because while it's obvious that Tadara has a crush over Shizuku at the beginning of the show makes it clear that she prefers dancing rather than finding a boyfriend. This also applies to Tadara's other dancing partners, so if romance is something that you're expecting while watching this show, I suggest you go watch something else, or at least be open to whatever else this show has. Also, be aware that this anime focuses a lot on dancing, and by a lot, I mean a lot, with all types of dances, musics, and style. Musics? If you're not a fan of dancing, it does take some time to enjoy this show, as it's portrayed not as just, a simple, thing to do in celebrations, but it is portrayed in this show as a fierce competition on the dance floor, with some episodes dedicating their entire time to it. And this is something that I thought was interesting and stood out production-wise throughout the entire show, was that the pacing was, I don't want to say a little off, but I'm also not surprised that the show did it because it's a sports anime. The first few episodes would talk about the events that happened before an event. Like, they would talk about the characters, would talk about any different encounters and stuff like that, while the next 6 episodes would be about one event, which, again, I can't really say I have a problem with, because other sports anime does this. If you really think about it, Yuri on Ice does it a little bit. If you really look back at the show, it's just Welcome to the Ballroom goes a little more further with it. It's just the only difference. Luckily, for what it had to work with, this show was pretty good. With only some minor differences, it's a show that really made me glad that it got adapted from the manga that it came from. However, there were times that I wish the anime picked up the pace with its extensive background storytelling, especially in the later episodes where, again, it mostly showed both Tadara and Janatsu either practicing or competing in tournaments or competitions. Adapted by Production I.G, this was really the #1 choice for them, as they are also known for making other sports anime and other anime that relies on competition like Haikyuu, All Out, and Kuroko no Basket, but for this show, they leave a memorable impression with its art style and character designs. The biggest selling point is the smooth camera angles and the good timing. When the competition gets fierce, it really draws out the talent of their dancers with their body movements, as each movement is precisely timed to show their potential with colorful aesthetics, and it's further amplified through clever facial expressions. The unfortunate part of this is that there are also some camera angles that give the impression of disproportion, because, the postures of different dancing styles are pretty complicated. But it must be taken into account that they are positions with a high degree of realism, so keep an open mind when you catch that when you watch the show. The dancing outfits in this anime are also memorable for their coloring and their hairstyle, in particular for the female characters, which is, if you would ask me, a pretty decent case of fan service. It's not that big of a case of fan service, but, some people call it fan service, some people call it a work of art. I just call it fan service. On the other hand, there is also some body parts in this anime that can be distracting. The one that's worth mentioning is every time that there would be a dancing scene, or every time that the dancers would go out and compete. Every person, I swear to God, would always have these giant, overly extensive necks. Like, good God, give them some freaking turtlenecks or something while dancing. It's distracting in some cases. Another thing to mention is that a high level of detail and quality isn't maintained in the surroundings, as you can tell that, you know, some CGI was used, and for people who don't know, anime and CGI don't really go together 95% of the time, with some exceptions. Besides, if you pay attention to the background of a certain scene, you will notice some not so good disparity between the surroundings and the couples in some scenes, but don't let that change your decision towards the anime, as this is something that's actually pretty normal. Several good animations don't have the budget to fill the whole scene with high artistic quality. It's normal. It's just, unfortunately, this is also one of those instances. It's just like having a really good sports team, but you have that one character who sucks, but no one really pays attention to him because the team's so good. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Juan Nicasio, 5.87 ERA. Why did you even become a reliever? Good God. But anyway, at the core of its technical feature is the music. It's what makes the ballroom dancing come to life. The anime mixes in a variety that includes jazz music, Latin, classic, among others. And the director, Yoshimi Itazu, really made an impression through his work by allowing the music to do the storytelling on many occasions throughout the show. The voice character mannerism is also well performed with the other characters in the show, and because it is 24 episodes, there are 2 openings and 2 endings, and all of them are worth listening to for their rhythm. If I had to suggest, I would say the first opening and the second ending out of all 4. Overall, this series has everything. It has a story of high quality with good pacing, realistic characters, different emotions like sadness, joy, need, and frustration, stuff like that. And the anime emphasizes concepts such as trust between couples, their understanding, and their conviction. And we can observe the constant need to overcome and the hard work required to achieve a change both personally and competitively. As a show with fierce competitive energy, this one might seem to be intimidating to watch at first. However, it's a show that I recommend for anyone, even if its selling points doesn't hit all the marks. From the character cast to the storytelling, Welcome to the Ballroom, or Ballroom Youkoso, whichever one you like to call it, is a show that focuses on what it intended to be without betraying expectations. Sure, some characters are not as well focused compared to others, as basically everyone Tadara partners with gets more attention than everyone else in the cast. But it's still a show that gives competition a powerful meaning. And it's with that I give Ballroom Youkoso, or Welcome to the Ballroom, an 8 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching my Ballroom Youkoso review, or Welcome to the Ballroom. If you like this video, you can hit the like button down below. If you want to see more anime review videos, you can hit the subscribe button on the screen or down below as well. Also, if you want to see more anime review videos that I've made, there are a couple videos on the screen, as well as if you go down to my channel down below, you can see a list of videos. And if you have any suggestions for any more shows that I can review, whether it's from 30 years ago or now, you can leave them down in the comments below. And once again, guys, my name is Payne. Oh, look at that hat hair. And we'll see you in the next anime review video.